All right. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is the Abomination Goddess Podcast, and I have Casie Halseth with me. She is a debut author. Her first book is titled Abomination Born, and it's over there on her screen so you can see what the cover looks like. It is available on Amazon, Kindle, Audible, everywhere. And we encourage you to get this book because it is amazing, and we'll talk about it a little bit today, too. It is a gripping fantasy novel that explores themes of identity, power, and belonging. Casie is an award-winning public speaker, and I think you'll find by watching this podcast and reading her books that she effortlessly just draws her audience into her world, both on book and on stage. She is deeply passionate about creating welcoming spaces for those who feel like they don't quite fit in, cherished by their loved ones, but often misunderstood. So, outside of writing, Casie thrives on building meaningful connections with kindred spirits and celebrating the magic of individuality, which is what we do on this podcast. And one reason why I really enjoy talking with Casie each week. So, welcome, Casie. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey. And I am Ashley Kim. I am the author of an upcoming nonfiction book titled Villain Goddess. I wrote this book to help women on their journey to set boundaries and build confidence and heal themselves. It's a very honest and open look at what I went through and the tools that I used to survive my villain era. I am the founder of a digital marketing agency, and I use my experience to guide female entrepreneurs to strengthen their confidence and their online presence. I love working with women, and I love having conversations just like the ones that Casie and I have each week on the podcast. And yeah, we both just really enjoy getting to know other people and their stories and accepting the abominations out there. Yay. So, maybe I will just jump into Casey's book, which I have the hard copy here. Um, and we can just I'm going to jump into my favorite parts, if that's okay, um, without giving too many things away. So I was just telling Casey that I had tears in my eyes. I was almost crying. It was chapter 15, George and the dangling hamsters. But George is explaining, and I don't want to give too much away because I want people to read the book, but this is my summary. George is explaining why he understands Marnie, and Marnie is the main character, and George is her husband. And she is worried that he won't fully understand her and her journey and the things that she can do. And so he goes on to, talk about these hamsters that he had when he was a kid and how he trained them basically to climb to the very top of the hamster cage to get treats. And that helped keep them active and because he felt bad for them because they were in a cage. And then he put some older hamsters in there who weren't used to the cage and they never looked up. So they didn't know that their world was bigger and they didn't know that there was more out there and more available to them. And the way that this was described just oh, made my heart full and it put tears in my eyes because isn't that life? Like, isn't that just life, you know? Um, and I'll stop talking. I'll let you talk about this chapter. Casie, I loved it. Like, it spoke to me. And, this is towards the end of the book, but it was, I've been saying since I've been reading it that it's something that people should just read. It's entertaining, but it also has such a good message. But when I got to that chapter, I was like, this is the message that I think will resonate with anyone on any level because it's such a great story. So anyway, sorry. Tell us a little bit about that chapter, and if you want to, you can talk about, leading up to it, or we can do that in another podcast too. But yeah, just tell us about that chapter, and yeah, yeah.
Well, that actually happened, except that the hamsters, Al had them when he was older, not when he was a little kid. He had them when he was older, and yeah, he was trying to explain to me that uh, he had these the ones that were babies, he'd put the food at the top, and pretty soon all the babies were just hanging by one little claw, and they would eat the food, and they played constantly at the top of the cage. And so he thought that, well, the big ones, the other hamsters he had, they would love it too. And those older ones, they never even looked up. They never even noticed that there were little ones on top. They would only eat food from the bottom of the cage. And that's when he realized that he'd been living in a world that was limited to just the things that are down below, but he wasn't aware that someone like me was seeing the whole thing.
Yes. And what a great way to describe it. And what a wonderful experience for him to have in order to just have that in the back of his mind, while he was opening his viewpoints as well. And those of us or those who are new to the podcast or to Casie's book, she said Al instead of George, but that's because in the
Oh,
book
that's
his
right.
name is George. In real life, his name is Al. So I thought maybe I should explain that real quick.
Yeah.
And this might be a good time just to talk more about your book. Um, I've been telling people about it because it's um, it's a way for Casie to educate people around the world about the fact that there is more around us, a lot more around us. And the one of the things that I liked about your book as well is that it also shows people not only is the world bigger, but our impact is bigger and our mission on Earth might not be exactly what we're taught. We're taught you need to get a job, you need to make as much money as you can, you need to do all these things to look successful. But is that really what's good for us and the collective and the world? And no, not really. Like that can be part of your journey, which is wonderful for you, but that isn't necessarily what is healing to the inside of us and, to the earth in general. That's how I took it. You can you can.
Ashley, it's so interesting that we are doing this together, because my book is basically about the little hamsters that were on the top of the cage. And your book is about the hamsters on the bottom of the cage. And they're just, your book is helping them to look up and to see the rest of
Yeah.
the world. And it's just
Yeah.
so interesting that we're working this together, because yours is a step by step how to awaken, how to become become part of the whole cage.
Right. I love that. I didn't even think about that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Thank
what
you.
yours is in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that is wonderful. And yeah,
Well, for
so
someone struggling to begin to open themselves up, your your story and your book will help them go through that.
yeah. Yes, thank you. Yeah. And I hope it does. I mean, um, as somebody who was at the bottom of the hamster cage and, wishing there was more, you know, um, and I think that's how a lot of people start is they wish there was more. They do think, is this it? Like this, it has to be bigger and better than this. And yeah, when you do finally look up and you're like, oh my gosh, and
The little hamsters on the top, they would throw food down. Well, so if they would throw it down on, let's say they throw it down on someone's head, sometimes you get something thrown on you and you're knocked out a little bit, but it turns out to be good because it forces you to look up, and then they finally see this something else. So being hit on the head isn't so bad.
right, right. And okay, that's a really good analogy as well because some people will get hit on the head and they'll look up to see where it came from. Other people will get on the hit on the head and continue to look down and then talk
Right,
about how horrible it was to
right,
get hit on the head and why that happened to me.
right, right,
Um, yeah,
right.
so yes, perfect analogy. And yes, I encourage everyone to read, Casey's book. It's Catherine Halseth. That's who you're going to look for on Amazon or Audible or Kindle. Um, but yes, just the lessons in there. And I don't want to give too much away because I want everyone to go read it. But you are basically getting um, a sort of fictionalized, like this is not, 100%, everything that Casie has gone through just because, she has to protect people's identities and names and things like that. But what you are getting is a completely different viewpoint of the world that you are in today. And hopefully it'll open your eyes a little bit and hope you kind of see things a little bit differently and to accept the different parts of yourself because we all have parts of ourselves that we keep hidden because we don't think anybody will ever accept them because maybe they feel too weird or too far out there or maybe you've had experiences that if you opened up to someone they made you feel like you were crazy for saying that. Well, that's why we're here because you're not crazy. And you have Casey's book and then soon you'll have my book and we will help you through that so that you know that you are special and everything you're going through is good and fine and you're a good person. And then, yeah, so I have other things I want to call out in the book, but I think maybe I will do a little bit on each podcast. We kind of talk about them. And then I think eventually, getting into just your story in general, Casie, but then also intuition in general. I think this is one of the things that you're good at speaking about, and and you have spoken about this, right? Correct?
Mhm,
You've spoken to big groups about it,
mhm.
and I think it's I don't know, it just feels like it's a good time to start getting into that a little bit more. And um, yeah, ladies, everybody, men too, it's time to start listening to intuition and opening your brain up. And if something feels uncomfortable, it's okay, sit with it and learn from it. So I don't know, anything that you would
Well, we
add to
have
that? I just,
tools. We have the
Mhm,
tools. Okay, so
mhm.
your book will be one tool to help someone with their intuition. You've got writing assignments in there, and you've got different projects that they can do to help awaken somebody. But you also have, if you're walking outside, um, what are you drawn to? What are you drawn to? So it could be, remember anything that's kind of on a circular form, that means it's something going on the inside of you that you need to look at, or if it's kind of rough on the outside, then it's something that maybe is on the outside of you that you have to look at. And this is ways that we can begin to awaken ourselves. Like the hamster looking down. Let's say you start to look up and you wonder where to look exactly. Your neck isn't ready to look all the way up. There's different ways. Like in the story, he puts food on the side of the cage real low for those lower hamsters, and they still don't want to go for it. But that's what maybe someone would if they stop
Yeah,
and maybe put your hand on a tree bark. Not all tree bark is the same. So if you put your hand on a tree, what is that telling you? Maybe
yeah,
nothing. Not everybody gets anything from a tree, but it
yeah,
might. it,
right.
it might.
Yes, yes, that is so true. And I've said this on the podcast before. It's one of my favorite sayings. I don't even know who came up with it, but um, they said it was something like, "My favorite moment is when you're looking at a rock and you feel like the rock is looking back at you." And I love
Oh, I
that
love
because
that.
yes, because it put a definition around a feeling, that
Yes,
I've had when you're
yes.
out and about and you connect with something and you're like, why the heck would I connect with a rock? Or why do I want to pick this rock up so bad? Or why do I want to go touch this tree? Why? And that's it. Like pay attention to that and go put your hand on the tree and go just quiet your mind and listen. Like you would be surprised at what you get out of it and just how alive everything is around you. And it's
You know
it's
how
a
a dog that is happy to see you when their whole back is wagging, and their tail's going like that.
yes.
Well, everything does that, and some will do it more. So you might
Mhm.
have a stone in the driveway, or like a tree or a leaf or something that's wagging at you, and you'll get this sense, and it will be just like that stone is wagging, and it's like,
Yes.
pick me.
Yeah. Yes, I love that. And there are even certain sections in my garden that's wagging at me. And I love to be in there. I'll spend extra time weeding or pruning or organizing my little, decorations I have out there just to be in that spot because it feels so good. So yes, I love that. And I think one thing to keep in mind is, if you are the hamster at the bottom of the cage and you happen to look up and you see hamsters up there and you think, I want to be up there too. Um, don't be discouraged when the other hamsters think you're nuts and you think you're crazy.
Yeah.
Just ignore them and keep pursuing what interests you or what speaks to your heart because that is how you're going to grow and that's how your world is going to expand. And you can't, just because someone else doesn't want to expand, doesn't mean that you should hold yourself back too. And I think that's a very, very important lesson just in life in general.
Yeah, and the ones on the bottom, even if they did try to crawl up, they're not as strong. Those ones on
Mhm.
the top, they were so strong, they literally could hold on to any one of their fingers all by
Yeah.
itself. Just hold it up and they just eat away, with the little soft dog food.
Yeah.
And, the ones on the bottom are not going to be able to do that. And so, they're going to be frustrated if they did
Yeah.
try. They're going to be
Right.
frustrated just to try to get up just a little bit.
Yeah.
And it just takes time. It
Yes.
just takes time.
Yes. It does
The
take
first
time.
thing is just the awareness and the open-mindedness to know that it's up there.
Right. Yes. I think that is huge. And I do feel like there is a shift in general in the world that I'm seeing where people do want to be more open-minded now. Not everybody, obviously, but I do think that there is a very good shift in that direction, which is very exciting for me. I've been waiting for people to shift for a while. So, yes. So everyone, order the book and sorry about that, and read through it and just first of all, enjoy the story because Casie's storytelling is wonderful and beautiful. Um, and I told her this before, I enjoyed her writing from a child's point of view as well. And it felt good to me just to read it from, just to read the beginning of the book from the child's point of view. And then I obviously enjoyed the rest of it too, but you did just an amazing job. An amazing job. And I loved it. So
Oh,
I'm just
thank
excited
you.
for you.
Thank
And
you.
everybody, she is working on book two and then finishing up book two, and she is starting book three. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Yay.
Mhm. Mhm.
All right. So, I thought we could do a little show and tell, which I really like doing that with you. And I think, our viewers do like to see it too. I'm going to share my screen so that everybody can see what we're looking at here. Let's see here. All right. Let's see. Do you want to go first? Let me scroll down a little here.
What I did want to say is you had asked last time about reading the card upside down or not.
Mhm.
And what I will do is like see these different tarot books.
Okay.
Before I read a card, before I pick one out even, I will like say to the universe what kind of system I'm going to follow. Am I going to follow
Ah,
like the animal totem one or the fearless
mhm.
tarot one or the 78 degrees of wisdom by Rachel Pollack one? Which system of tarot am I going to follow? Or am I going to just follow my own?
Yeah.
Whatever comes to me, whatever I feel like it should be. And so once I settle on what kind of system I'm going to follow, that's when I pull out because the universe knows all those books and they know
Right.
all the methods that these people have written. And
Yeah.
so if they're suggesting what something might be in the upside down mode, then I've already told the universe that if it comes up upside down, I'm following so and so's book or that kind of method, and I will go along with it. But if it's in
Right.
my
I like that.
method, I personally do not do the upside down.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
I don't. But if I tell the universe I'm following somebody's method, then I will.
Yeah. I like that. And so you have one tarot deck and then you have multiple books that you reference. Is
Oh, I
that
have. I have
correct?
multiple tarot decks. I have quite a few. And
Oh,
and so yeah, I have lots of them, and it depends on what I feel like, what
yeah.
feels like.
Okay. I really like that. I do the same with my oracle cards is as far as just kind of letting the universe help me select which deck I want
Yeah.
for the day. And it's always better if I do it that way versus if I just try to use the same one every single time. Let's see, are these the cards that you pulled today?
This one is the Hanged Man, and it represents the 12th month, and we're in the 12th month. So I thought it was important that we spend a little bit of time with the Hanged Man. And the
Yeah.
stone that's there with it is iolite, and it's often called the water sapphire. And
Oh,
in ancient times, they say the Vikings would use the iolite to help guide them, because if you hold it up on a cloudy day, it will sparkle right where the sun is, even though the cloud is covering the sun. So they would
really?
know yeah, they could find the sun that way. That's how they say they would navigate the seas.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh, that is
with the
so cool.
with the Hanged Man, we're in that would be the 12th month going around the clock. Uh, so in the 12th month, you see the hangman, he looks comfortable upside down.
Yeah.
And so he's odd. He's just like the dangling hamsters in that he's very odd. Now, the hamsters could hang upside down from one little toe also.
Mhm.
And they're perfectly content, but to the rest of the world, they seem a little odd. And so
Hmm.
the hangman, I love the hangman because we might be going on a path that is different from everybody else or from a
Mhm.
lot of people, but we're good
Mhm.
with it. We're okay with it. And so when we
Yeah.
come to the 12th month, this is the time where we're okay.
Yeah. I like that. So accept yourself, everybody.
Yeah,
Accept who you are and
yeah,
accept where you are right now. Like it's where you are
yeah,
is fine.
yeah.
Let me see what.
And then that one is the King of Wands. And this is the one that I pulled up for myself.
Mhm.
And the all the wands have to do with action, and the king is the last of the wands. And so that means you've gone through it once before, and you've come back around doing the royalty cards. So the king is the last one. And so just after the king of the action, that means that I've finished up everything I need to do, and I'm about to step into a new world in
Mm.
with the water. So my action is done, and I'll have to begin to look at my emotions with things,
Okay.
which will be the next
Interesting.
thing.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's awesome. Let's see here.
And
Do we want
the ring is Larimar, and
to?
Larimar is the stone that goes with the King of Wands. And I don't have a stone
Oh,
of it, but I do have a ring with it.
yeah,
So that's
that
my
works.
fingers and my ring.
That works, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
then this is the stone that was with the
Iolite.
hanged. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Oh.
iolite. Uh-huh. Now,
And so, okay.
Larimar is in the same. It's found with copper, and it's in the same family as uh, uh, the turquoise and azurite and all the stones
Mhm.
that are found with copper and the blues like that. And it's going to help. So with your action in the King of Wands, and with the Larimar stone being blue, it's going to help with your actions with what you say or what you shouldn't say.
Okay. Nice. I always need help with that.
And it comes from the Dominican Republic.
Oh, wow.
And that's why it's called Larimar. It's not from anywhere else.
Okay. Oh, that's so interesting.
Mhm.
I was going to ask you, when you pull your tarot cards, do you always grab the corresponding stone to go with the card or?
If I have it, I do. Yes,
Mhm.
if I have it, I do. If I don't have it, and there's still some that I don't have yet,
Yeah.
um, then I'll go on my phone app or I'll go onto Google and I'll look it up and I'll dream about it.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. Yep. I like that. I also like that it gives you more interaction with your tarot card as well. So it gives you,
Yeah.
more to look into and more to study. And I think that's super helpful and, just tapping into your intuition and messages and stuff. Okay, so look at this gorgeous photo of stones. Oop, I might have made it too big. All right, so what do we have here?
These are tarot, all the tarot stones
Oh,
for all
wow.
going around the whole circle. There's a couple of them that are missing, but not too many. Um,
Yeah.
and I put the names by because I forget. Sometimes I'll forget.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, there's so many.
Hmm. Hmm.
Nice. Um, Pink opal.
Hmm.
Let's see. I wonder if I can.
Yeah, and you'll see it'll say what it is. Like there's the garnet is three of cups,
Mm-hmm.
and the top is two of wands is celestite, and
Oh, wow. Yeah.
king of cups way at the top was a green peridot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, yes, this is amazing.
I don't keep it like that. I have them in another place now, and I have my
Mm-hmm.
grids set up differently now. But this is what I did. Uh,
Yeah, I love this. Very neat. Thank you for sharing that with us. And then this one is a little different or no?
mhm. This is just the major arcana.
Oh, okay. Okay. And it is set up with the months
Yeah,
or no?
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Very neat. Very cool. Yeah, I will definitely put these photos in our Substack email. That is so
It's
cool.
what I use that as my cheat sheet. I'll look at that every once in a while. And sometimes I'll wonder, I'll be thinking about something and I'll just wonder which stone would be most helpful for me. And I can look
Mm,
at that and it helps. Sometimes it draws me into if I'm working on a situation that is more emotional, then it's going to be in, from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock position, and if it's something that takes a lot of action, then it's up in the wands. If it's something that has to be manifesting something in this world, then it's up in the from 9 till 12 up there. And if it's something that
mm.
is um, I've got to think about this, then it's down in the sword section from 6 over to 9.
Okay.
So
I'm
those
here.
stones.
Yeah, I would love that. Very helpful. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yay. I love it. I think this is just so nice too, because anyone watching can see just all of the different things that you have available to you. Um, I wanted to show you guys, I have a new Oracle card deck, Sacred Cycles, and both of these ladies are on social media too and have a lot of really good content. Um, but I really like this because it has cycles of the moon, reproduction, just women in general. It is very cool. And I pulled, so usually my first card goes to my house spirit, but she hasn't been that interested in cards lately. So I got to keep the first card today. So winter, which I thought was interesting to go with the hanged man as well. But look at all the just symbolism and how beautiful this is.
Yeah, it is.
These cards are so gorgeous. And I pulled a second one too because I also wanted to show just more symbolism, but also sorry, it's a little blurry. but also just, so many different people are represented in these cards. And it is, for women, it's women's cycles and women's body parts in there too. But um, it was, it's been helping me just connect a little bit more with myself and as a woman. So I've been really enjoying these cards.
Yeah.
Um, I was also going to pull up, oh, here, this is a better photo. This is what I have with me today. A cinnamon stick. So I don't always know why I grab stuff, just so you know, but I have a cinnamon stick. This little plate I got at a thrift store, and I don't know why, but I couldn't put it back down. So I bought it, brought it home. I have a shell from Oregon, and then this is some lava from Hawaii, and then this is a bell that says
Oh,
thinking of
that,
you that I also got at a thrift store that I had to have it. I couldn't put it down. And so these are my items that I have with me on my desk today. Makes me feel good.
I love it.
Thank you. And then this morning I got started with a singing bowl because I do love those as well. And um, even like if my kids are feeling out of sorts, I'll have them hold it because you really do feel the vibration all the way into your chest when you use these. And so
Yes.
it is a nice way to kind of reset your nervous system as well. But my big show and tell today is
I have
I thought it would be
something.
fun to, sorry, I didn't not wipe off my table before I did this. So let's see, I think it was in September, October. And so this is my journey with this necklace that I made. Um, a couple years ago, my friend had given me a necklace that was the little mirror. And I just kind of kept it and didn't know what I was going to do with it yet, but I knew that I did like it. And then when I was in Oregon in June, I saw this, evil eye. It was actually a keychain. And I got that as well. And so what I ended up doing is I was having a hard time with one of my clients' partners was super nasty and saying lies about me. And then my client would ask me about those lies, which of course I'd have to say, no, that's a lie. That's not correct. And I was just getting sick of it. And so I did my own ritual where when I wear my necklace, it helps any of the nastiness that's coming back to just shoot back away from me. And I use the evil eye for that as well. And then I also did a ritual and with a green candle where if somebody is talking bad about me, I get money. So every time somebody says my name in a mean way, money is sent to me. And so then I poured the candle wax on the necklace. And it's my reminder of the fact that I can take back control of all situations and I can also control how I feel about them. Um, and I do feel like, Casie always says, careful what you wish for, or something like that. So it did work. As in, I no longer work with that client. But during the process of that, it wasn't it wasn't great. Some of the things I was hearing about me and things like that. But one of the fun parts about it is I kind of gamified it with this ritual in that, every time money would just show up to me, I would say thank you to this nasty lady,
Yeah.
not directly to her, but just out to the universe. I would say thank you for talking about me behind my back because one of my other clients just thought of me and sent me a gift card because she loves me, just things like that. And so I would think, thank you. Thank you for keeping my name in your mouth because I am benefiting greatly from that.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, it just kind of made it fun for me. And the nice thing about this too is I don't reach for this necklace as often as I used to. So I do feel like, it helped me with a time in my life and I'm so grateful for it. And I don't feel like I'm reliant on it, if that makes sense. I feel like instead of using a prop, I have that inside of myself now. And so,
Yes.
and that's kind of the one of the neat things about going on a journey that way as well is you start to realize how much control really is inside of you as well. And I think my opinion is that it's okay to have things like this, if it's helping you, but it's also okay to let go of them and just know that that power is inside of you as well. So,
And
yeah.
you've gone up to the next cycle, the next spiral going up, the slinky going up. You're on the next one.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it, our weekly chats has helped me to realize that. I think in the past, as I stopped reaching for that necklace, I would have freaked out and thought, oh my gosh, I'm not using it anymore. That means everything bad is going to happen now. Whereas now I'm like grateful that I'm not thinking about it and reaching for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and with the spiral idea, every single item in our life that we have an issue with has its own little spiral. And so, like if you're doing the stones or doing the cards or doing anything, going outside and waiting for something to wag its tail at you, uh, you might have something in your mind first. What particular thing do you want help with? And
Yes.
if you have nothing that you want, if nothing's in your mind that you're thinking about, just say, what I do is I'll just ask the the cosmos, is there anything you need me to know? Is there something, do
Yeah.
you have something that I need to know?
Right.
And sometimes, so like for instance, if a mirror with an evil eye is something that I'm attracted to all of a sudden, then I'll know, okay, I'm coming up on something. Something's coming
Yes.
up and I need to be ready. And
Yep.
and then again, there's something coming up, and so it'll be like the little hamsters on the top throwing something down on my head because I think I know everything, but I don't. And
Mhm.
so something's going to knock me down, and I'm going to look up and I'll see there's more. And so
Yeah.
we're always going up.
Yep. Yes, I love that. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And yeah, I'll be out, and have to have something, for example, like I had to have that bell from the thrift store. So, I bought that. Or I'll be out and it's a rock and I'm like, oh, I can't set this down. I don't know why. And I've learned to just trust my intuition and I might not know why I wanted something for 2 months. And then suddenly, there's something going on. I'm like, I can use that stone, or I can do this or I can do that or whatever. And I think that's the beautiful side of learning to trust your intuition and just learning to be patient with it as well. Is that the answers do come eventually. So,
Hey, you
yay.
had asked before last week, I think it was, about the winter solstice coming up. And
Yes.
one of the things, the Yuletide, from the Norwegian side of our family, that was always the Yule log. We had the three candles, and that were always in a birch wood log. My mother had it, and it was always out, and she would have the three candles lit. And then my grandma, being Hungarian, what she would do is, for sure we were going to be eating something. Hers was always through food. And for
Mhm.
us, our tradition was, it's called papa seed noodles, and she would call it papa seed noodlies. And she would make homemade noodles, of course, and papa seed pie filling or cake filling, from Solo, with a big jar of no, apricot preserves and butter, a whole pound of butter.
Yes.
And so part of ours at this time of year is the food traditions, and part of it is the light, re reminding that this is the time for the light to come back again.
Yes. Yes. And I do, yeah, I have struggled with, I guess, creating my own traditions around this time of year because I haven't had any, passed down to me. So I love that. And I do want to get into more of the food side of it because that doesn't always naturally come to me. But, once I experiment, with making some kind of Yule dish, I'm always happy I did. But I've always, gone outside, made, bird seed ornaments or something like that and put on the trees outside and things like that. But I think it's in celebrating, light. I just do that kind of by default. I think that we should have twinkle lights up all year long. When
Yeah,
I drive through neighborhoods, I'm like, why aren't we doing this all year? We should be doing this all year. So yeah, our house is covered in lights everywhere this time of year. I just love it. And I even start before Thanksgiving and people make fun of me, but I can't wait to have that reminder, everywhere in my house. So, um, okay. I think we have been talking for a while. This has been a really Really fun podcast. I absolutely love our discussions, and I thank you, Casie, for joining me each week. This has been a true blessing for me.
Thank you. I've absolutely loved it.
Awesome. Okay. Well, everybody, we will post as many photos as Substack will allow us to in our email that we send out with the podcast. And we encourage everybody to just start tapping into your intuition more. And if you find that you're at the bottom of the hamster cage and you're looking up and realizing the world's bigger, don't feel discouraged, feel excited, and just keep learning and growing. And, you're not going to be hanging from the top of the cage day one, and that's okay. The whole point is that you realize things are bigger and there's more out there
Thank
and that you
goodness
want to grow.
something hit your head and
Yes,
forced you to look up.
yes, yes, and be grateful for that
Mhm.
instead of being discouraged. Yeah, that's a great reminder. So, anything that I miss?
No.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, we will I think we'll have one more, do you think, before the holidays? Yeah, the 17th or the 18th. So, okay. Perfect. All right. We will see everybody later.
Bye.